Welcome back to Joe Rad Trades. This is a market overview for January 15th, 2025. It's been a while since I've done these market overviews, and that's just because I haven't been getting up in the new year. I just started to get back to my schedule. So let's look at the markets. First thing I noticed is these Argentinian banks are all displaying the same patterns. I went over a B bar in a previous overview. I don't remember which one it was, but I left these drawings here for that reason. There's consolidation here after touching the Keltner channel. I perceived that there was going to be a breakout after this touch here, and there was, but it's set nicely for a long here if that's something that you want to do. But if you come out of this chart, you'll see we had consolidation here and then a breakout, a nice slide up, and then continued breakouts. Like what that does is you can see how these patterns are just complex, and then we kind of just up, and so that's climactic activity to me. So we might be a bit overextended here, but going back to the pattern talk, and I try to bring this up all the time. Now, these are going to be highly correlated because they're in the same markets, but this is another one from an Argentinian bank. It does have that climactic activity also setting up nicely. I might like this one a little bit more, but they're both really good setups. But again, they are very overextended. Ultimately, that's the pattern that I'm seeing in some of these Argentinian banks. To move on to some pullbacks, going back to the pattern talk, here we had a complex pullback. So I tried to enter this trade back here on this inside bar a little bit and doesn't hit my stop, but we saw a complex pullback here. I knew I was going to stay in this trade. I drew this line waiting for the breakout. You could potentially enter here if you wanted to get an entry. I would put my stop, I don't know, maybe like 23 or some, shoot for a 1-to-1, probably a better entry than what I got. Going back to the pattern talk, we talked about these patterns in a couple other tickers, same concept, but these are to the upside. This one held earning support, had a complex pullback, 1-2 legs, and then a breakout retest, and then go. LULU was the other. You had same thing. Buyers protected this level, didn't even get down there. A retest of the breakout point right around here, and then back to the top. That was an easy trade. That was not one of my good trades this week. UAL, same concept, complex pullback, strength out of that pullback, retest of this level, and then a nice entry bar right here. I got in, and that was a nice quick profit. You could see those patterns and how they resemble this just to the downside. And if I invert this chart, it looks pretty much the same. 1, 2, breakout, retest, possibly get in here. That is what I have for patterns and a couple setups. Now, here's a couple more setups alongside. DAL just had earnings. I have my pre-earning support here. It's looking pretty strong. Touch the top of the Keltner channel. Support, you could see buyers jumped in after we dipped below and tried to catch some liquidity in this area here. Form this nice bar again with a shadow here, or a tail, whatever you want to call it. Entry above this might be a nice long for 1-to-1. Sky West, really touch the Keltner channel yet, but we had a complex pullback. We had 3 legs, 1, 2, 3 wedge, and then we had a higher low, double bottom, breakout, potential retest here, and then this nice strength on this bar. Also, you could see the momentum increase. The only concern is this bar was a couple standard deviations larger, but if you shorted this bar between this tail and this bar here, you're probably a little upset. I think this can go for what we call an anti-pattern pullback. It's the first pullback of a reversal, and you could see here, this is your first reversal, and this would be your first pullback. So that's why I have this one on the list. It almost touched the Keltner channel. I think this is a really good long. The one thing I'd watch out for here is the spreads. ENB, I had it in one of my market overviews as a potential long. I never actually entered this one, but you could see it fell through, failed, and now we're back. Fell through with the rest of the market, honestly, and now it's showing strength when the rest of the market's not. So it's a good sign. Any bit of strength on a greater market, we're going to see this pop up. This is a great bar, right? So if you shorted here on any of these bars, you're really upset after seeing this bar, so you're going to want to get out, and that can add for potential strength on this trade. So this is probably my favorite setup of the day. This is Tractor Supply TSCO. We have a short setup here. If you were long on any of these bars, especially this bar here where you kind of went on immediately down, you're probably going to want to get out at some point. So I think this has enough strength to get to the downside. Remember, shorts are a little wacky. You want to take your 1-to-1s a lot quicker than you do normal long, where you can kind of trail your stops. SPY. Looking at the SPY, this is going to be my last ticker here. I've marked this as the first bounce. I was watching intraday after the FOMC rate cut. Watched the first bounce intraday on this bar, and it happened right here, and you could see we tested that a couple times. There is a potential for us to get back up to this point and test again, but ultimately you can see there is weakness in the SPY. We are in a range. If you were to send this out, you could see we've tested and played around with this range a bunch. Potential to go up is high, but also we are in short setups. It's just a matter of being patient. These indices, actually, I said this is going to be my last one, but IWM, there is some strength in IWM coming off of these low patterns. Touch the Keltner channel, pullback. But if you shorted these bars, shorted on any of this stuff here, and you saw these two bars, how do you feel, right? Your trades, you're going to want to get out of those quickly. You might see a push back up on these, on IWM and the smaller stocks here. Overall, market is in a consolidation, in my opinion, with a slight bearish bias. If you are going to trade, just be careful, have your stops ready. When things move in your direction, make sure you're removing risk, and good luck and good trading.